Okay, bringing out a big dog here. This is the Husqvarna 562 XP. It is a 2023 model, is it? Maybe it's a 2022 model. I can't see. But it's not the brand new one yet, 2022. It's a 2022 model. It does not have the dished piston and stuff that they're coming out with. So, but anyways, this right here currently is the fastest out of the box 60cc saw on the market. So let's see how these 50cc saws that have been ported do when put up against the fastest 60cc saw on the market. Now I know that those would beat a lot of 60cc saws, stock saws. I know that they would. Let's give it some real competition and see how powerful they actually are. My guess is this is going to beat every one of them. Auto tune. Maybe that got it, maybe it didn't. Here we go. Fast saw, boys and girls. Those other saws don't stand a chance. That's a strong, fast saw, man. You know, one of you guys, who was it? I can't remember. Maybe Bent Wrench? Anyways, no, it wasn't Bent Wrench. It was, whatever, I'm sorry, I can't remember. I got a lot of subscribers, I can't remember all the names. So, oh, it was Mr. Jeep. There we go, Mr. Jeep. Like, he's right. Whenever he was like, you make fun of the Stihl fanboys, but you're a Husky fanboy. He is not wrong on that whatsoever. Even though, honestly, I don't like Husky very much. It's weird, isn't it? You know? It's the same thing as the Johnson Red and the Red Max, and I'll flip out over those. But whenever it's the Husky Orange, I'm like, you know what I mean? So, but he's not wrong. I am definitely an Electrolux fanboy. Let's put it that way. But these right here, I've never really clicked with this saw because I mean it's got great power for a 60cc saw, but it doesn't have great weight. It's heavy, right? Compare this same thing to an MS 362. 362 doesn't have as much power, but it feels better in the hands. The MS 400 is the cure for that. The MS 400 compared to this, even though my own personal preferences tend to make me pick this up before the MS 400, I cannot hide it. The 400 is a superior saw to this. All right? It's lighter. It does have more power. This one will hold more RPMs, and in smaller stuff it's faster, but stock for stock we're talking. But the 400, the Stihl, the Stihl MS 400 is a better saw, in my opinion. Plus, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. This is again, Mr. Jeep called me out on this, and he is right. I gloss over the problems with the 5 Series Husky saws because I prefer them over Stihl. Their problems are real, and they are there, and they exist, and there's no getting around them. And that is the problems with the bottom end and the overheating. Now, the 572, I believe, and the 592 don't have the bottom end problems, I think, okay? But the 60 and 50cc saws, both of them, all of them I should say, because there's multiple, have bottom end issues. All right, now why do they have bottom end issues? Well, it's the bearing slash crank seals that they chose to go with, as far as I understand. I don't have a full understanding about it. You have to know that. A lot of the saws had the crank bearing and seal as one unit. They changed that. I believe this one has the bearing and seal as 2 separate units, I think. But the problem is still there. The bottom end has issues. I think that they also have bearings that have the plastic cage inside the bearing that gets hot, right? Which brings me to another point. But they get hot, and whenever they get hot, that plastic tends to melt, and your bottom end goes bad. These things have real legitimate problems. Also, now we're talking about the bottom end. What makes it go bad? It's the heat. Well, these things run hot. They run so hot, as a matter of fact, is they almost always have restart problems. Let's see. See? It's a brand new saw. You should not have that issue. What you have to do to combat it is every time you shut it off, whenever it's a hot day or it's running hot, you need to pump up the fuel, get some fresh fuel in there, put it on high idle. Now it should start. So some people that like that stuff, like these, they tend to gloss over that problem, and so it's not a big deal. All you got to do is pump it a few times and put it on high idle, and then it'll start first pull every time. Well, you shouldn't have to do that. That is bullshit. Now, supposedly with the new one, the new 560 that's coming out is, or 562, I'm sorry, and 560. But the new one supposedly has a built-in, like, computerized hot start, high idle setup where you don't have to do that every time. I don't know, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but if it does, that's still, you're putting an extra layer on a cake that's already full of all kinds of layers of technology that people that run chainsaws honestly don't like. You know, we like this stuff to be bare bones. You know, every time you add something more that you have to hook up to a computer to adjust, it's bullshit. So, and like Okie Woodsman, he's got a brand new one, and he's had problems since day one. It's got an air leak somewhere. The manufacturer ain't fixing it for him. They've tried a few different things, but at this point they should have already taken the saw back and given him a new one. That's what they should have done, because it's just BS that he has this problem with the brand new saw. And I gotta say, with the MS400, doesn't seem to be any problems like that. That thing's solid as a clock, you know. It doesn't seem to have any of those problems, but these do. And Mr. Jeep's right. I gloss over the problems that these have all the time. I've got a brand new Red Max in there, brand new, that I was paid to port for a gentleman out in California, Forrest, right? And I had to refund his money because that saw has a crank seal leak, brand new, and it's got a leaking bottom end. So yeah, the problems are real. Now, if you get a good one, you're golden, you know, but because they are nice and they are fast. They're very fast, strong saws, but they do have their problems. And it's about high time I admit that, I suppose. So anyways, I still don't know what I'm going to do with this saw, because as good as it is, truly, it's good. I would rather run my Husky 359 that's been ported. I don't know. It's nice, but here soon I'm going to be putting up a lot of stuff for sale, and hopefully I can make some money selling some of the saws that I'm never going to get around to using or doing anything with. Like, I don't want to port this thing. I don't want to. You know, if I was to break into this thing and do anything to it, probably about the most I would do is superficial stuff. You know, like remove the base gasket. Okay, maybe put a pop-up piston in it. Maybe do some work on the carburetor so that it has a little bit more flow going into it. But as far as actually making this thing, you know, of course a muffler mod, as far as actually porting this thing, I think I've pretty much learned my lesson. I don't really want to port 5 Series like anymore, because I don't really think they're worth it. The gains are extremely minimal unless you are magic with your porting tools. Anyways, I don't know. Undecided. But that's enough on the 562. It runs good. It pulls good. No problem with that 24-inch bar, just as it should be. However, I would not want to run this with a 28-inch bar. Got to baby it too much. I don't like babying them.